Alright, so I seen a video of Reggie talking about how 2027 it gonna be a wrap for him. It's over, it's done. He done did so much partying and drugs and drinking and shit that he don't feel like he gonna be alive next year. Or definitely he said the doctor say it's a wrap for him next year. So my first mind is this nigga lying. This nigga is lying. Okay? But that's alright. I kind of want to get back into reading tarot. So let me use this as an opportunity to see what the cards say. So I pulled an oracle card from two separate decks. I have the fox, the cunning, lion, manipulative fox. Okay? And then I have Usi, which is the god of nature. So that's going to be the general energy of the reading. All right. So it seems as though Reggie is actually having a profound crisis. Okay? The Five of Pentacles as the situation confirms him being in a state of genuine hardship, feeling out in the cold. There's a sense of him feeling wounded. The Tower as the challenge represents sudden and catastrophic collapse, shattered illusions, and the destruction of foundations, which can include his ego and his reputation. These two cards together leads me to believe that his heart failure announcement itself was like his tower event. Like him announcing it is what is damaged his ego. I guess the acceptance of it is what damaged his ego. Or it was like an earthquake in his narrative. So yeah, I feel like he's having some sort of crisis, but I kind of feel like it might be like more psychological than it is physical, or at least in the way that he's presenting it. Okay, so yeah, he has a history of impulsive actions and attention-seeking behavior. A Page of Wands has where it represents restless and immature energy. And it's the creator of sparks that can turn into fires, which I feel like in Reggie's case, it's more like the boy who cried wolf. I'm seeing that his subconscious energy is crafting and maintaining a facade or a narrative, or a persona, that what he's actively working on is not towards his healing, but it's more about managing people's perception of him. Okay, so the Ten of Swords is the card of rock bottom. Okay, it's victimization. But it could be betrayal. And also a dramatic end. I feel like in this case, it shows how he views himself right now. Which is defeated, pretty much. Which also, that's a state of mind more than it is a physical state. Um, the world around him is full of illusions and fantasies, um, and choices based on delusion and escapism. Um, this Seven of Cups confirms to me that there's mental health issues, and he's surrounded by, or he's creating a reality based on confused thoughts. So I'm not sure that he's actually clear on what it is that the doctors think. He seems to be in a period of anxious assessment. He's waiting to see what's going to come from the seeds that he's planted, or maybe even the drama, knowing him, that he's sown. There's a fear here of wasted effort and a hope for some kind of payoff or some form of validation from this period. At his best, though, he possesses, or maybe he aspires to, charismatic leadership, visionary energy, and creative power. This is the energy that he could harness, of course, but I believe with the Tower being in this reading, that's not going to happen. So this is his near future and his distant future. I'm gonna put that to the side for a second. This, okay. So it seems like for Ray J, this moment is less about death and it's more about reckoning. Some people call that fate. I'm more of a scientific mind, so I think of it more as a chance to have a change in your point of view. The Tower and the Seven of Pentacles in this reading suggests to me that he's experiencing time anxiety, and probably legacy anxiety too. Like he's asking himself, what did all of this amount to? This isn't just about his morality. This is about a crisis of meaning. Like Ray J, this is not about your life ending It's about the way that you've been living becoming unsustainable. Because let's be real here, there will be no miracle turnaround, but there is room for him to have stabilized trajectory. Um, I feel like he's at a literal fork in the road. And the journey that he decides to take um, towards the final outcome, because I feel like they kind of both lead back to the same place, but the journey that you decide to take, or the path that you decide to take, is going to determine how long it takes you to get there, if that makes sense. So here's what's going to happen, okay? So you got path A and you got path B, right? Now, path A is what's going to happen if you continue to speak publicly about your life. That is path A. Getting on live, getting on the internet, running your mouth. That's path A, okay? So, you take path A and you continue to publicly speak about your life. There's going to be more rumors and speculations about your health. And then that's going to lead to your own confusion increasing. And then you're going to increase your anxiety about your health and about your feelings of abandonment, because that's what this is about too. Abandonment from public celebrity. And then you're going to go through this never-ending cycle of catastrophic thinking where you feel like, oh, I didn't say too much. I always ruin everything. Oh my God, now I'm just thinking I'm going to die, okay? And I feel like that could potentially lead to a mental breakdown. Now, path B is what you need, okay? Path A, who you are and have always been. Path B is what you need. And that is to keep quiet, okay? So the tension between your image and your inner collapse is very loud to me, okay? And the contrast says that Reggie, the persona, is exhausting you and is overwhelming your nervous system. But I feel like you fear that, like, if you stop talking, that you're going to lose relevance, and then you'll lose control of how you're seen, and then that pretty much means to you, at least, that you don't exist anymore. So it's like, to you, Reggie, talking is proof of life and silence is ego death. So you just continue to choose expression over your own safety, okay? Getting on social media is a way for you to be momentarily seen, but I promise you, in the end, you're going to feel worse afterwards, okay? You're going to be exhausted mentally. You're going to lose control of your narrative and have other people shape your story for you, okay? Your mouth is going to cause your tower to keep falling, okay? This ain't no single tower moment for you. It's going to be, well, if you go down path A, it's going to be a series of tower moments, okay? And you just going to get worse and worse and worse, okay? So you got to learn to contain yourself. I feel like you need like a space where you ain't raging. What's your Willie Jr.? That you need a safe space where you could be him. Somewhere where you ain't expected to be entertaining or dramatic, uh, or be this grand persona. Like you need to be a small, quiet, unimpressive, regular old person, okay? Because I feel like you do have an issue with your nervous system, and your nervous system cannot heal while it's being observed, okay? So, you also, and this is just me just rambling on talking, but I also feel like you need one grounded professional in whatever the specific field is that you need them in. Like, stick to one doctor, stick to one therapist, stick to one clinician, etc. Because, like sometimes doctors, and I have health issues, so I, I feel like I'm qualified to speak on this, but sometimes if you have multiple doctors, they ain't always like on the same page, and they may have like different ideas on a plan of attack, um, or like what exact issues is and how to go about this, that, and the third. You don't need this. You do not need this because it leaves room for uncertainty, and uncertainty is what is feeding your fears. Okay, so you need somebody to set a clear plan and give you nothing but facts. Okay, and then what I need for you to do is to listen to them and not reinterpret what they say emotionally. Okay, hear them logically and hear them for what they're saying. All right. um that is the only way that you're going to receive the proper medical clarification that you need, so that we can replace your fears with facts. Okay. um Another thing that I feel like is crucial down path B, okay? Your psyche wants repetition. Skill building and incremental improvement are things that you need. You need a routine, sweetie. A boring ass, blah blah, day to day routine, okay? Like, you need a sleep schedule, medication compliance, repeated check ins, um, just mundane structure, okay? Like, my mind goes to, what are those places like where the celebrities go and it's kind of like a rehab, but it's not for drugs? Oh my God, what's that place? Wellness? A wellness spa? No. I think it's called a wellness center. I think a wellness center. That's just what I'm going with. I think that's what it's called. Like, it's like a place where you can go to be cut off from society. Kind of like you in like a fancy jail or something. But I feel like that's where Ray J should go for a while to learn structure, and routines that he needs to follow to be able to manage his health. And I think that place will allow him to recalibrate and learn how to regulate his emotions as well. Now, in the immediate future, is the Queen of Wands, which represents a powerful female energy. It could be an actual person like Brandy or like Miss Sonia. or it could be an aspect of like himself that he just needs to mature um, from the page. Um, it's a really stabilizing influence, which is a good thing. In the distant future, the King of Swords, um, the master of truth, clarity, and judgment. Okay, King of Swords cuts through illusion. Okay, um, it may involve legal matters, clear communication, or just like a final sober assessment of the facts of what's going on with you. While I don't believe that the doctors told him that he only has a year to live, I do believe that he is dealing with a rather difficult truth. It could even be something more than heart failure. But there's far more mental and emotional crisis energy in this reading than a bodily shutdown energy. And so that means that fear is what's driving his narrative more than physiology. So, Ray J, your healing is it's going to begin when your story stops moving, okay? Stay your ass up off the live videos, okay? I'm not telling you that you need to like disappear. But you just need to stop narrating in real time, okay? You don't need our sympathy. All right? You need a quiet structure, you need routine, you need less people around you, and you need a safe space where you don't feel like you need to perform. Okay? You might just need to retire Ray J. Ray J might need to retire. And, in a few months, after you get your physical and your mental health stabilized, then, maybe you might want to allow the world to get to know Willie Jr., You never know. So, anyway, I guess the nigga ain't lying. Well, he ain't lying all the way. Yeah, he got some real stuff going on, but boy, them doctors did not tell your ass that you got a year to live, okay? And good for you, all right? So that's all I have for this reading. Y'all take care of yourselves, and until next time.